Okay, so in this video, what I want to do is just come back and summarize some of the things that we have been talking about. There's a lot of stuff here in the garden, and our understanding of the garden and the implications of the garden are big. It matters a lot as we think about man, as we think about our relationship with God, as we think about Jesus, Him coming, why He came, what He accomplished in His coming. It's much bigger, I think, than most of us understand. It's not that our understanding is incomplete or is inaccurate. It's that our understanding is incomplete. To know Jesus and to focus only on the crucifixion and to talk mostly about the crucifixion of Jesus is to know Jesus incompletely. Not inaccurate. All of that's true, and we'll see that when we start to drill down on Jesus. But to know Jesus in His completeness is to understand the significance of the resurrection and living on the basis of the resurrection, what was accomplished in the resurrection. Man is Adam, and he's coming out of the garden with two faces. A smiley face, because he's made in the image of God, always will be made in the image of God, but also a frowny face. Why the frowny face? The frowny face is because he chose. There are two ways of living with God. One way of living with God is life, what God had always intended. Not a tree, but a relationship of union. This is all review. Right? One way of living and being on the earth is in a relationship with God of union. Another way, God gives him a choice, is through the knowledge of good and evil. Knowledge. And I like to put evil over here and good over here. This results in separation. This is called life. It's actually the tree of life. This is death. Separation is death. It does not mean coffin. We're not talking about biological constructs here. What we're talking about is relational constructs between God and man. So man chooses. He chooses to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and God says, when you eat from this tree, you will surely die. Again, not a biological idea, not a construct of a coffin, but being separated from God. So it is this separation, it is this death, which man chooses, which results in that frustration phase. Now Adam and Eve, Adam is a man. Adam is a type of man, not just a man named Adam, but a lineage. So Adam is a lineage. Okay, I'm going to put him down here with his hands down now. And the reason he's got his hands down is because all he knows is death. He does not know life and cannot know life until Jesus comes. Jesus comes to restore life. So Adam, with his smiley face, because he's always the imago Dei, made in the image of God, and his frustration face because of the fall, is now a lineage. Right? He's a way of being on the earth. He is, I'm going to call this humanity. H for humanity, 1.0. And this is the best we have to offer, or this is the best we can be now. All of the Old Testament, all of the New Testament, coming up to Jesus, knows only Adam. Every single person on earth knows Adam. We know what it means to have a smiley face and a frustration face. And this is coming out of the garden now. There are three things to think about here. Death. That's all we have is death. Everything we do is death. Why? Again, separation. The implications of man coming out of the garden are one, death. All he knows is death. Second implication is that man's now going to be hiding. He's hiding because he no longer embraces that it's okay to be naked. He's supposed to be naked and without shame. That's how God describes the relationship of God and man before man goes into death, before man eats from this tree over here. He says, and man is naked and there's no shame. That gets changed. Suddenly now man is hiding, putting on fig leaves, right? Hiding from God, hiding from each other. Still naked, but he believes the lie that he's supposed to be like God. The serpent comes along and says, oh, you're going to be like God. And God is not naked, right? So all of a sudden man believes that it's not okay to be naked. It's not okay to be lacking. We're not talking about physical here. We're talking about lacking. lacking and without shame. This shame piece goes away, and man is now filled with shame. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with us. Every single person knows this. Why? Because we're linked to Adam. And this is what we have coming out of the garden. Death, hiding, and the third thing is we know sin. And this is very, very significant. In fact, we know only sin. Only sin? Are you kidding me? Yes, we know only sin. Because sin is falling short of God's glory, and God's glory is defined by a relationship of union with Him. And so when we say that we know only sin, what we're saying is that we miss out on God's intention. We cannot live out of God's intention for us. Everything we do will be say it this way, everything we do will be unrealized potential. Why? Why is it that everything we do is unrealized potential? Because potential is defined by this tree over here, the tree of life. And we don't have that anymore. That's gone. Union is gone. So everything man does up until the time of Jesus is sin. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Sin is not how bad we are. We're bad people and we should get better. That's not what sin is. Sin is how flawed we are because we don't have union with God, and that everything we do results in death because we only have death. We're wired for life, okay? All we can produce is death, and we make the false assumption that if we could just get more knowledge or move from the evil side of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil to the good side of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, somehow we would find life, and we can't. So sin, everything we do falls short. The Bible's going to tell us that sin entered the world through Adam. We'll talk about that in another video. Sin entered the world through Adam. Sin exercises control and dominion over us as human beings. Everything we do is unrealized potential. That's the best we can come up with, is unrealized potential, because we're falling short, not because we're bad people. And this has implications for what the word repentance means. Repentance, then, this could be another video. What does repentance mean? Repentance is not so much saying we're sorry. It's not remorse that results in us trying harder, because no matter how hard we try, we're in a state of separation. Repentance is not remorse that results in us trying harder. Repentance is a returning to a life of absolute dependence upon God. Repentance is practicing that. And true repentance, then, comes gloriously with Jesus. All of this we're going to see gets untangled when Jesus comes. He's the hope for all of this. With a question, where is the hope? The hope is not where, but who is the hope? The hope is a person, and his name is Jesus. Fascinating for us to study him as the one who lived differently than all those in Adam, and the one who came to undo this mess and to reestablish, to take this tree of life that was banned and to unban it, to live out of it, and to leave it behind for us to do the same. So this is kind of the summary now for the garden, and that all we have going forward. See you in the next video.